You're watching Valley Vision TV on Comcast Channel 7.
Hello and welcome to Mac and Bob's Maroons Tuesday Night Live here on Tuesday, November 22nd. Hello everyone, I'm Nick DeSanctis alongside Richmond Bramblett. Tonight we'll be joined by senior cross-country captain Tim Smith, cross-country freshman runner Grace England, cross-country alum Jenny Boone, men's basketball alum Kevin Hunter, Dean of Student Retention William Greer, former women's basketball player Becca Bays, former women's basketball alum Karen Jenkins Harvey, junior women's basketball player Hannah Davidson, and women's basketball head coach Susan Dunnigan.
And we're going to start with women's basketball tonight, as the women's basketball team is currently 0-3 after losses to Ferrum, Mary Washington, and Christopher Newport. As we take a look at the Ferrum College game, the Maroons lost 77-51, but Paxton Gwynn came on strong, picked up 21 points and 10 rebounds. Freshman guard Taylor Duggins came on with 10 points. She was 2 for 3 from three-point range. Paxton Gwynn leads the team with 13 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game, and 1.66 steals per game.
The men's basketball team sits at 0-2. They're currently in action against Bluefield State. Despite going 0 for 2 in the V Foundation Classic, Kazi Amponsah was named to the V Foundation Classic All-Tournament team after finishing the weekend averaging 11.5 points and 4.5 rebounds with 2 steals per game.
And for men's and women's cross-country, Tim Smith and Grace England just returned from the 2011 NCAA Division III Cross-Country Championships in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Tim Smith placed 38 in his final collegiate meet, narrowly missing out All-American honors. England placed 181st in her championship meet, being the only female freshman in school history to compete at the national meet.
Richmond will be right back with cross-country runners Grace England and Tim Smith.
Hey Roanoke fans, come out to the Bass Center on Saturday, December 3rd for Roanoke College's Maroon Madness. The action begins at 1 p.m. as the men's basketball team faces off with ODAC rival Lynchburg College, followed by the women's basketball team squaring off against Emory and Henry at 3 o'clock. The afternoon includes giveaways and prizes like a 32-inch TV, a $1,000 gift card to the Roanoke College bookstore, an iPod, and much, much more. Come out and support Roanoke College's Maroon Madness.
With freshman Grace England and senior captain Tim Smith from the cross-country team. First of all, congratulations on your fantastic performance in the last couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Now, Grace, you initially finished the regional championships in 16th, but after 2 runners dropped out and center earned an at-large bid, you ended up in the 7th spot. After finishing 16th initially, were you aware that nationals was still a possibility, and what were your thoughts going through your mind at that point?
Well, I really didn't expect to go to nationals at all, even before I ran in the regional race, and I was really not expecting to go once I found out that I was 16th. But Coach Pincus talked to me later in the day and explained the situation where I might be moved up into 7th, and told me that he would call me the next day, and all of a sudden I found myself going to Wisconsin.
It's always even better when it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Now, Tim, after an outstanding season, ODAC Runner of the Year, ODAC Scholar Athlete of the Year, you piled on more accolades as you were just the first Roanoke runner to finish 2nd at NCAA Regionals. Did you prepare for this race any differently, and what do you attribute the success to this season?
No, I didn't prepare for this race any differently than any other race. I just looked at it as another race, and I thought, I have a good chance of making it out to the national meet and possibly winning this regional meet. So I just did my thing and got it done. And, I'd like to thank my coaches, Coach Pincus and Carl Blickel, for their support, all my friends and family and loved ones, and especially my mom and dad who are here tonight, sitting over there in the corner. And they are the reason for my success.
It's good to have the family here for Thanksgiving week. Yep. Now, Grace, you were the ODAC Rookie of the Year, and you placed 181st with a time of 22:50 at the National Championships. You're also the first female cross-country freshman to compete at Nationals. Was Nationals ever a goal for you as your first year as a collegiate runner? And kind of take us through a little bit of your race and what your thoughts were on your performance.
Well, like I've been saying, I didn't expect to go to Nationals at all. I didn't even think I'd be in the regional race at the beginning of the season. I was just hoping to get through the season without any injuries. And so it was quite an honor to be able to compete at the national level. And the race at Nationals was completely different than any race I've ever run because the cross-country fans were so excited, just screaming their heads off, cheering for us through the entire race. And so I started out faster than usual, but not sprinting, and I found myself in dead last. The race was so fast, but I managed to work my way up, and when I crossed the 5K line, I couldn't believe I was running as fast as I was, but I wasn't going to slow down then because I was almost through, so just pushed through it. And then when I realized how much I'd improved my time, I was really happy for that.
Well, again, congratulations on your race. Now, Tim, you finished 38th with a personal best time of 24:50, which is the best time and place of any runner in Finn Pinkus's 21 years here as coach. You were also named ODAC Runner of the Week 4 times, the most of any cross-country runner here at Roanoke. Is this the finish to your collegiate career you were hoping for, and what can you take away from this amazing season?
Well, this is definitely the finish that I was hoping for this season, and currently I'm planning to come back for the 5th year. I thought about it long and hard, and I think it would behoove me to come back and try to pick up an extra major and use my extra season of eligibility. And I'm having a lot of fun here, and I love Roanoke College. I love the environment, and I'm having a good time. So I figured, why not come back and.
Well, there you go, Tim Smith coming back. Now, one final question for the both of you. Tim, who, at this point I thought was an outgoing senior, to Grace, who's a freshman, what advice would you give to Grace for her next 3 years coming up from the success that you've had?
I would say just ride the thrill of going to Nationals as a freshman and let that just fill you with positive energy and positive thoughts for the next 3 years, and never give up, and always keep trying hard like you have been day in and day out this season, and just keep up the hard work, and dedication will pay off. And I think you've seen that this year, and if you do that, then in the future you'll achieve even greater things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, Tim, Grace, it's been great having you here. It's the second time we've had you on, and I'm quite sure we'll probably see you again next year now, both of you. So we will be back in just one moment with Jenny Boone, cross-country alum and public relations specialist.
Be sure to catch Roanoke College sports on Valley Vision TV, Comcast Channel 7 in Roanoke, Salem, Botetourt, Lexington, and Blacksburg. Brought to you by Mac and Bob's, Main Street, Salem. For programming information or schedules, go to valleyvisiontv.com.
We are back here with Jenny Boone, cross-country alum and public relations specialist. First of all, welcome to the talk show.
Thank you.
Now, you come on to the show as our special guest from 2 capacities. You come on as a former cross-country runner and as an employee of the college, again, working in public relations. Could you take us through the last 10 years of kind of where you've been and up to joining your alma mater in 2010?
Yes. Well, after I graduated from Roanoke College in 2001, I went to get my master's degree in journalism at Northwestern University. And then actually, ever since I graduated from Northwestern, I came to work at the Roanoke Times, actually here in Roanoke, and I was a business reporter there. So I was there for basically the last, I guess, 8 years or so.
Now, working in public relations it can be very broad in some aspects. With Teresa Guerrero as the Director of Public Relations, Whitney Anderson handling the videos and website, Blair Garland in marketing and branding, and James France in publications, and Leslie Taylor with the Roanoke College Magazine. It's a big crew in the office.
It is.
Could you tell us and the viewers a little bit about what your job entails here at Roanoke?
Yes. Well, as a public relations specialist, I do a lot of writing for the public relations office and for the Roanoke College website. So I write news releases. I write stories for the Roanoke College Magazine and stories for a news blog we have online. So it's mainly a lot of writing and also just kind of speaking with media and doing a lot of kind of communications work within the office, and also working with some students too on campus who want to be in PR and are kind of working on their writing skills. So
all right,
it's a fun job.
Now, you as a student interned at USA Today during a semester at Roanoke, writing several published articles. You were an English major and a French minor, and earned a membership into Alpha Lambda Delta. While your education helped you earn your way into this line of work, did the experience at USA Today help spark your interest more into the public relations line?
It did a little bit. It was definitely a big start in my kind of news career, which public relations is obviously some related to news and kind of journalism. I mean, USA Today was a really cool experience, and I actually did sports reporting there. So that was definitely a great learning experience, and I did a lot of writing. And actually, it was focused on college sports, so that was kind of interesting since I was obviously interested in athletics and that kind of thing too. But definitely it did help with my future and kind of where I am now. It was a big part of that.
Now, moving on to the other aspect of your history here at Roanoke College as a runner on the women's cross-country team. You were named Academic All-American in 1997-98 and earned all ODAC honors for all 4 years. Could you tell us what these prestigious accomplishments have meant to you?
Well, just being a runner here at Roanoke just was a great experience for me, and I look back on those memories fondly and really enjoyed everything about running here. And I think it just means a lot to me personally, just persevering through injuries and things that I had here, and just really trying hard. And running is one of those sports and racing that requires a lot of discipline and perseverance, and I think those things just take you anywhere in life. So, but I loved running here, and running for Coach Finn Pincus, who's still the coach here. And always look back on those memories with a lot of excitement, I guess.
Now, you did have a great career here at Roanoke. As you and Casey Smith led the Maroons together for 4 seasons, you were always neck and neck throughout each race and seemed to have pushed one another individually. How special of a runner was the 2011 Roanoke Athletics Hall of Fame member and 2001 national champion?
Well, Casey is basically my best friend. We were roommates all through our college years, along with running together, and it was just really neat to share our running experiences together because we really knew each other well. Obviously, living in the same dorm room all 4 years or 3 years, and just being in the same schedule with each other. But Casey was is just a wonderful person, really a very disciplined person, and I think just her mental toughness is really what helped her to be successful at Roanoke College and to be successful now in life. But I learned a lot from her. She was a great example for me, and I think we really pushed each other a lot, which was really neat to have a roommate like that. So
good. Now, your former coach, Finn Pincus, told us about your rigorous off-season training routine. Could you tell us what you did over the summers to prepare for each season?
Well, I did a lot of running over the summers to prepare, but a lot of what I had to do, I went through a lot of injuries when I was here at Roanoke, and I did a lot of cross-training, such as swimming, biking, just really anything I could do if I was injured or hurt. And so that kind of schedule really, I think, helped me to get to where I was. I didn't really necessarily have to be running all the time to still be a good runner. I just worked really, really hard. I did maybe 1-2 workouts a day. And Coach also was really good, not necessarily in the off season, but during the season, and just really tailoring my workouts to workouts that I could do to still be a competitive runner and not always have to necessarily be pounding the pavement.
Sure.
And Coach Pincus just was wonderful about doing that, and I think he continues to do that with the team now. So I just really, really pushed through a lot of that, and I think that was the key to the success.
Now, through all 4 years of Roanoke and your success that you had as a runner, What would you say that probably your fondest or your best memory as a runner at Roanoke College was?
Well, I think that there are so many good memories. It really is hard to kind of pull out one. I definitely enjoyed really just the team atmosphere that we had here at Roanoke when I was a runner. Just everybody, we were all best friends and really just loved being together and really pushing each other. But I think in terms of just kind of one of my favorite memories had to do a little bit with kind of that off-season or in-season cross-training. And it was one particular moment where I basically couldn't run for about 2 weeks before a race, and I just did a lot of really I guess you could say, a really vigorous swimming workouts during that time. And it was right before one of the ODAC championship meets. And I, without having run for about 2 weeks before the race, I went out and ran the race and still placed in the top 10, which was kind of amazing for me considering that I had just basically been swimming for 2 weeks before
absolutely.
that. But it was really a good memory because I just remember it was something that showed that I really persevered. And with the help from coach and my other teammates supporting me, it was a great accomplishment. So.
Well, again, we want to thank you for obviously coming on. We love having our alumni on, and we especially love having our alumni staff to come on. So thank you for coming on the show, and everybody should be well aware of all the work that she does in the PR office. So we'll be right back with Kevin Hunter, a men's basketball alum.
Welcome back to Mac and Bombs. I'm joined with men's basketball alum Kevin Hunter. Now, you're looking a little bit different. We're doing something different up here now.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
Time to grow up, man. Cut that off.
Now, you were a 4-year letter winner for the men's basketball team from 2001 to 2005. We're all ODAC center twice, but you also played against some of the best big men in Division III over that span. Can you tell us about some of the guys you played against that still stick out in your mind?
I'll probably say Kyle Williford is the first because he's a very impressive scorer. He gave us 56 the game we guarded us and fouled almost every one of us out. But probably the best person that I played against was Jared Mills from Randolph-Macon. He was intense. He came to play every night, and it was fun to play against him. So he was probably my favorite dude to play against.
Now, you also got to play with some very talented players at Roanoke, including all-region guard Bobby Pridgeton, 1,000-point scorer, Jared Butler, lockdown defender, Jameer Mansell, another all-ODAC player, and Josh Foster.
Yeah.
Who were the best players that you think you got to step out on the court with at your time at Roanoke?
The best all-around player was probably Josh Laporte. I mean, he could score, he could rebound, he blocked shots, got steals, handled the ball well. I mean, he brought everything to the table. And even though I only got to play with him for a year, he was really a standout player throughout his career. So it'd probably be him. Jason Graffam is another good guy. He was very intense. He brought the best out of you every time that you wanted to, every game. So he was probably those are probably my two favorite people to play with.
Now, in your years playing at Roanoke, do you have one game that really stands out in your mind?
Yeah. Probably my senior night where I proposed to my wife. And it was just a lot of emotions. The team helped me out a whole lot. They flew my parents in and my little sister. It was a very special night. I didn't play well. I didn't play well at all. And another thing that stands out, Robbie Winfield reminds me that's one of the few games he outscored me over our career. So it was a pretty intense night, but it was very, very enjoyable.
Now, what gave you the idea to propose to your now wife on a basketball court at senior night?
I just wanted to do something different, man. That's all it was.
Pretty different.
It was, but it came together well. I mean, I had a lot of people knew around the campus, and if you took a look at the pictures, it's pretty packed in there.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of tough keeping the secret from her, but it went over well.
Now, you hold the school record for field goal percentage, scored over 1,000 points in your career, also 8th in the career block shot list. All that said, what experience or lessons do you take from Coach Paige Moyer in playing at Roanoke?
Well, he kind of taught me, like, I had to learn how to bring it every night and be consistent. Because coming from high school, I didn't really have that because we had a lot of players on my high school team that were really good, and everybody on our team went to play basketball at some level. So we had nights where we up by 30, 40, 50 points by like midway through the third quarter. So we never really had to worry about people being really close. I mean, outside Cave Spring, which is down here, we're our only real competition. So we did get lackadaisical at times, and we had to work. Like, he helped me work to be able to maintain my performance throughout the entire game, throughout the entire season, and throughout my career. So just intense, being able to play with everybody and work together and stuff like that. So that's probably what the main thing was.
Have you had a chance to see this year's team or last year's team out on the court at all?
I did. I went to the game over the weekend where we played Emory. Now, that's a very talented team, but it was a difficult game. But we seemed to have a nice young nucleus. A couple of the players that came off the bench, they really brought a spark, and we outscored them about, I want to say 23-5, something around that, in the second half towards the end of the game. So we have a young team, talented team, and hopefully he can bring the best out of them.
Do you see any big differences in even the way the game's played from when you were on the court to the boys now?
I like to say there's not a big guy as good as me, but they're very team-oriented, and we had a lot of good individual players, but we didn't have, like, I want to say we had a great team nucleus, but they really worked well together. And we didn't always work well together throughout the season, but they seem to.
All right, Kevin, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll be right back with Dean of Student Retention, William Greer.
There.
Not a fan of the pictures?
They're okay.
I'm back with William Greer, Dean of Student Retention for the last 4 years. What experiences have you gained being with Roanoke College, and what has made you so proud to be such an integral part of a rising college in the world of liberal arts?
Well, thanks for having me on, Nick. This is one of the things that excites me about working at Roanoke is our students like you get to have experiences that are, I mean, this is a graduate level experience for you, whether you realize that or not. I'm sure you do. You know, and then you have the fine student athletes that were here earlier that represented us on the national scene, and knowing that, you know, they're first year students and they're student athletes, and nobody's going to go professional early. Nobody's leaving early, and when you have that kind of talent on our campus, they get to rub shoulders daily with the traditional student. I was a traditional student. I didn't have the gifts to play on the hard court and basketball on the college level. So it's things like that I really cherish about Roanoke, and I know that we're striving hard to be the best liberal arts school we can be, and we're not sleeping. And a lot of people working real hard to get us there.
Now, outside of the obvious to retain students, what does your role as a head of student retention involve you doing?
I get to be an ear. That's one of the pieces that I like about my job is I get to do a lot of listening to all types of students. Some that regularly they probably don't have much of a voice, and I get to try to help them find their voice. Another piece that I get to work really closely on is our orientation initiatives. Another example of things that I get to help students with is plugging them in, whether it's, what are you passionate about? How do you obey your passion? How can we help you find a major that might speak to your interest? How do we help you find some type of a research project on campus or a job on campus that might speak to your interest?
Now, how does your job apply in the realm of the athletic department and the student athletes here at Roanoke?
Our student athletes are a joy to work with. They provide many wonderful qualities to the rest of our student body. They really have the opportunity to enhance our school spirit. But in regards to supporting the athletes, they have a built-in support system with their coaches, whether it's a head coach or an assistant coach. And so I know all the coaches pretty well. They have my cell number, the coaches do, and regularly they'll reach out to me. I regularly get to grace the halls of Bass Center and walk through and shake hands with coaches and find out how different student athletes are doing and how I can better assist what they're trying to do. But athletics in general at Roanoke is a very positive piece of what we're trying to accomplish. And I can think of no better way to really improve school spirit and to build pride in Roanoke than to have strong athletic programs. Whether it's more of an individual sport, like a long-distance runner, or whether it's a team sport like basketball or lacrosse, those student athletes really, I think, help other students have a pride in Roanoke.
Now, in addition to building school spirit around campus, there's been an initiative over the past few years to help build community support of Roanoke College athletics, as you're also part of community development. Can you tell us a little bit about the goals you're trying to reach in that department?
Sure. With community development, it kind of speaks for itself. We know that our students do not pick Roanoke College because we're a sleepy little college. We want our students to feel like they can come to Roanoke and have everything at Roanoke that you would have at the University of Alabama or University of Georgia or Oklahoma State, where you pick the large university. But yet you're not a number. You can be taught by a full professor. You're not taught by a graduate assistant. And so, in regards to building community, we really want to support our students and help them to feel a sense of pride. And I know in a minute you're going to ask me questions about the coffee cart we have going on, but there's some nice tie-in there with trying to build, a small time where people can get free coffee on their way to class, but also say hello to somebody they don't know, whether it's Brad Moore, or whether it's Brian Ryberg or Lindsay Fallstick or a professor. The students have the opportunity to walk up and grab a free cup of hot chocolate on their way to their 10:30 class, and if they're running late, they can take one for their professor. So we're just trying to build as much community as we can, and we think free food and free coffee is one way to do it.
Especially as I'm on my way to my 9:30 and I can stop and chat with Brian Ryberg rather than meet him in the afternoon and grab a free cup of coffee.
Yep.
Always starts the day off well. How did that whole idea come about?
In looking at our daily schedule, we have a block schedule, and it's a great schedule, but there's not a whole lot of time in the day for programming. And the sacred times that we do program, there's an awful lot of programs, so you're kind of competing and with other groups, whether it's SGA or another organization trying to compete for precious time. And so we thought, let's get students when they might be a little sleepy, or they might be a little chilly walking to an early morning class, and let's say hello to them and invite them in and offer them a free cup of hot apple cider or hot chocolate or coffee with their favorite creamer, and get to know their name and learn as much as we can over the course of about 5 minutes, and hopefully make it a once a week kind of thing.
Now, also, you have a special relationship with our college's chaplain, Paul Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about what he means to you?
Sure. Paul is a very dear friend to me and to my wife, Carrie. And he actually met Paul for the first time sitting right over here in Mac and Bob's. And he was my boss. That was the beginning of my first set of interviews. And he later became my boss. I was assistant to the chaplain, director of community service. And so for 3 years, I learned a lot through Paul, and he is I oftentimes look at Rooney and think that Paul might be in there because he is very much a mascot. His type of theology is that he doesn't try to threaten students. He meets students where they are, and one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, he's taking you to theology on tap, or he's inviting you to have a hot dog with him and talk about whatever. But he's a dear person to me, and I know to the Roanoke College community.
Now, last year we saw a couple of things come about with tailgate parties pregame. This fall, everything seemed to come full circle with the grill out, the beer garden, everything going on. How did that whole tailgate system develop? Because we've seen you and also Brian Ryberg behind the grill a couple times this fall.
Sure. Part of it is we have this new committee, a community development committee, and really what we want to do is we have several key leaders on campus that are supporting that. I'm glad to see Dr. Gene Jarsky here tonight. He's one of those people, and my boss, Vice President Brenda Pogendorf, are supporting this initiative to how can we continue to build community on campus. And we know that with athletics, you know, whether you're an athlete or not, it's something that you can get behind, you know. And especially at a place like Roanoke where we're talking about D3 athletics, I can identify with the runners that were here tonight. You know, I can identify with Kevin Hunter. I met him his freshman year, and I've known Kevin a long time. You know, I can identify with other student athletes, whether they're playing on the lacrosse field or women's basketball. And so we already have the uniforms. We already have the coaches. We already have the referees that are coming. So why not try to build that up and provide some other entertainment that ties in nicely with that, and try another twist on how can we get our students out. So that's where the tailgating has come from, and that's where the beer gardens have come from, and trying to make students feel like, again, we've got everything you have at a large school, even though it's a small, liberal arts college.
Scaled down a little
Yep.
bit. Now, can you think off the top of your head some of the best teams that you've ever seen at Roanoke? Is there one game or one moment that stands out?
There's several. Probably the first one that comes to mind, I think it was the 2000. I'm going to mess this up. It was, I believe, 2009 men's lacrosse game against WNL. I was the faculty staff coach for that game, which is an amazing honor. Coach Pilot asked me to do that. And so from the get-go, you're in the locker room. You're hearing his best Newt Rockney, speech to the team to fire them up. You get the scouting report without the players there, and then you run out with the team and everything, and take Kerr Stadium. And at the end, it was a heck of a battle. I mean, there was a lot of blood. And at the end of the night, we won in sudden death. And standing on the sideline with that team, it was magical. Another one that comes to mind is, and I don't want to mess this up, Robin Yurkus won the indoor national championship, I want to say in the 400, back in 2008, I think. And, I was standing really close to President Maxey when he got a text message from Robin saying, I did it. And so I wasn't able to be there, but I know that when that text came across, and we were all pretty excited. And there's a lot more. And another one that comes to mind is I want to say it was January 3 years ago. Our men's basketball team was number 17 in the country, and we were hosting WNL. A lot of WNL going on here. And we were hosting WNL, and it came down to the final seconds of the game. I want to say we were up by one, and they hit a WNL. Unfortunately for us, Maroons hit a finger roll right at the end of the game, and they went on to win. Our fans were devastated, but it was a great game. And as a fan, you walk away knowing, it was a great game, good for the school, even though you lost.
We really appreciate you taking the time to come down. I'm sure I'll see you for coffee next week.
I hope so, Nick. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Richmond, we'll be right back with former women's basketball guard Becca Bays.
Be sure to catch Roanoke College sports on Valley Vision TV, Comcast Channel 7 in Roanoke, Salem, Botetourt, Lexington, and Blacksburg. Brought to you by Mac and Bob's, Main Street, Salem. For programming information or schedules, go to valleyvisiontv.com.
And we are back here with Rebecca Bays. Now, Rebecca, you were a standout at William Byrd High School as a three-time Class AA All-State player for the Terriers. From there, you decided to attend Marshall and play on the women's basketball team for the Thundering Herd. What was the deciding factor in your move from Vinton to Huntington, West Virginia?
It's actually kind of a funny story. I was actually getting ready to verbally commit to Anderson University in South Carolina, And my dad was super psyched. You know, he's proud of his baby girl. And we drove down to Anderson University and had a great time down there. And he said, hey, Beck, I want you to drive from Anderson University all the way to West Virginia. I didn't get a break. Only time I got a break, we stopped at McDonald's for coffee. And that long trip kind of was like a little stunning. You know, oh, my goodness, every time I want to come home, I'm going to have to drive this drive. And then we went and did an official visit with Marshall, and I absolutely fell in love with the coaches. And I love the fact that I'd be 20 minutes away from home. My grandparents, who never got to see me play, would be able to watch me play. And the fact that I wasn't going to be like I was in high school, a big fish in a small pond. I was going to actually have to work hard and, you know,
right,
make something of myself. And it was a challenge for myself, and I'm glad I did it, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Now, after spending a year in West Virginia at Marshall, you decided to move back to Roanoke Valley and enroll at Roanoke College in 2008. As you said, with your family living so close to you in West Virginia, why did you come back to live in Salem and attend Roanoke College?
Throughout high school, I had Coach Bernard, who's a part of the men's basketball coaching staff at Roanoke College, and he would always tell me, Beck, I guarantee you by February of your freshman year, wherever you are, you're going to call me and say, hey, you're going to want to move back to Roanoke. And sure enough, I called him around March. I said, look, I love D1. I loved all the aspects of it, but I wanted to have a life outside of basketball. You know, I was just tired, and I wanted to, you know, spend more time in my studies, spend more time creating relationships with people outside of basketball. And that's really my main reason for moving. I could have stayed at D1, and I would have been just fine with anything that would have happened, you know, maybe 10 minutes here and there in a game. That would have been fine. But I really wanted to make a difference somewhere and put the knowledge and what I had of basketball and make a difference. So that's why I came back to Roanoke.
Now, when you came back to Roanoke, you made an immediate impact and was a 2-year starter in your 3 years playing for the Maroons. You led the women to back-to-back 20-win campaigns and nearly a third straight and an ODAC championship if it weren't for a 25-foot bank shot in the title game last February. How different was it playing at the Division III level, I guess, in game, not so much you talked earlier about kind of the personal life outside of it, but what was the Division III level from your first season after spending the previous one at Marshall?
It's kind of a hard question to answer, but, you know, at Marshall, I really had to look at myself and improve my skills as an individual because the competition was a lot more greater, or you know, was a lot more harder, and it wasn't, you couldn't just halfway do it. It was, you had to give your all 100% every single day, and then you might have a chance of seeing the floor. And you know, I kind of took that same mentality when I came to Marshall. It's all or nothing. You're going to give your all, or you're going to give nothing, and your all is what got the best outcome. And I really feel like I got the best outcome with the group of girls I had at Marshall. They understood me. They understood my style of at Roanoke, they understood me and my style of play, and I got along, you know, I think better with the girls at Roanoke than I did at Marshall, just because, you know, we had lives outside of basketball and we got to bond better. It wasn't, we chose to be with each other, and unlike Marshall where you were forced to be with each other. And I don't know, it was a completely different style of play. You know, I think the competition level was exactly the same. I don't feel like I had any differences from D1 to D3. I feel like the main part was the team that I was with, and that really has, you know, I've gotten great friends from that team, friends that I know I'll have for a lifetime. And again, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Moving back to Roanoke was the best decision of my life, and I've experienced some of the best games of my life at Roanoke that, you know, I couldn't have got from anywhere else. So
now your second season with Coach Dunnigan was a very memorable one, as the team went 24-4 and won the regular season conference title for the first time since 1997. The squad also earned its first NCAA tournament appearance in 10 years. What was it like for you to play in the NCAA tournament, and how did it feel when you saw that you earned an at-large bid?
Okay. The morning we all went in and we watched, I'm pretty sure we were in Coach Page's office. We're all sitting there on his, you know, two-seater little love seat couch, and we're all waiting to see. And I felt like, you know, we were all at a disappointment because we had lost in the ODACs, and we knew that we were a better team, and we were scared that we weren't going to get the chance to make it to NCAAs. And then all of a sudden we saw our name pop up, and I think all of us just had a sigh of relief and like, oh my goodness, we get another chance at this. And we came out that next game, and I think every single one of us left our hearts, left our emotions out on that floor. And it's a feeling you'll never forget, and it's a memory. And it's something you will never forget. You know, it's just one of those to be able to say, hey, I made it to NCAAs. Whether we won or lost, the fact that we made it is just an accomplishment that you'll never forget, and most people won't ever get a say.
Absolutely. Now, your final season, you were named team captain and would finish your career 7th on the career assist list with 270 in just 3 seasons at Roanoke. You also totaled over 100 steals, 500 points, 275 rebounds, and 50 three-pointers. After your playing days, what experiences or lessons do you take with you after playing for such a storied program that is Roanoke College women's basketball?
Commitment is a huge thing I'll take from Roanoke College basketball. I felt like with the girls that I played with, the women that I played with, we gave it every single day. We gave our all. We gave our best. And whenever, you know, our coaches felt that we were just, you know, a little under our best, they made sure that we were getting right back on track. I learned loyalty. I learned faithfulness to a team, to a program. I learned trust, you know, to trust into something that you might not necessarily think is going to have the outcome that you want, but you got to put your trust in people and faith in people that they'll give you the outcome you want, and that's definitely what I got through Roanoke College basketball. You know, there were some times I didn't really I would look at Dunning and be like, why are we doing this? And then, you know, or Coach Rob really, and, you know, 3 or 4 games later I'd be like, okay, this is why we're doing that. So
Now that she has just walked in the door, could you tell us your most memorable moment in your career for playing for Susan Dunnigan and the women's basketball program? And are there any funny stories about Dunnigan you would like to share with us?
my most memorable moment for playing for Roanoke College was when we played Randolph-Macon at home my junior year. We were down by over 20 at halftime, and we came back and won by 1 point. And it wasn't the fact how we won. I think it was the look I got from Caitlin Long and Jaleesa Osborne as we walked off that court. It was like, we're dang good. You know, we deserve this, and we worked our butts off for it. And Susan Dunnigan, God, the stories you could tell about Dunny are just, you know, too much to say right now. But I can't tell you how many times we would box out from foul line. I would push my girl all the way to half court. You didn't box out. Give me 3 push-ups, or, you know, you didn't do this. And or the time that she chucked keys at Caitlin Long, you know, or the time she thought I bumped her from the back. And, I mean, there's just so many stories about Dunnigan. But, you know, Dunnigan cares about her team, and she treats her team as family. And she's an incredible woman, incredible person. And I think we're all honored to have played for her, and we'll always remember her. And she's an important aspect and part of our life.
Well, again, we appreciate having you on the show, especially when you can give such insight into Coach Dunnigan. But, again, thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully we can have you again on another time, and we'll be back with Karen Jenkins-Harvey.
If you would like to sponsor this program or advertise on Valley Vision TV, call us at 540-397-1051 or email to sales@valleyvisiontv.com. Remember, you're watching the Valley's only true local network, Valley Vision TV, Comcast Channel 7.
And we are back with Karen Jenkins-Harvey. First of all, welcome to the show. As a proud alum of the class of 1991 for Roanoke College women basketball, it's certainly our privilege to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Now, you have quite the resume while playing under head coach Susan Dunnigan. As a senior captain, you were named All-American in the 90-91 season, leading the women's program to a school record 28-2 mark and advanced to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. Could you tell us about that banner year for Roanoke women's basketball and what it really meant to you looking back?
Well, I think back a lot to the 91 season, and as a coach now, I talk back, I talk to my kids about that year and the experience that we had, and it was, really the best year. And, it was a great year because we didn't have any outstanding players. It was just a good team all around. And obviously we had a great year, and we finished Final 8, which, just meant the world that we were able to do something like that as a team.
Now, in your final 2 seasons at Roanoke, the Maroons dominated the ODAC, going 36-0 during your junior and senior seasons. Now, when you were recruited to come play at Roanoke, you probably knew the women's basketball team was starting a dynasty in the ODAC as they were winning conference titles. Did you and your team feel confident every time you took the floor when you went up against an ODAC opponent?
It's funny because my junior year, I was the only junior. We didn't have any seniors, and we were actually picked to finish 5th in the conference that year. And if I remember correctly, I think we started out the year I think we were 1-2 or 1-3, and then we went through the conference and we won every game, and it was our confidence built as the season went on, and yeah, we walked on the floor and we expected to win, and it was a good feeling, and it's something that as a coach you try to tell your players that you have to expect to win when you walk on the floor. So
now going into that 36 game, was there more pressure? Did you all feel any pressure knowing that there was one conference game left? And
no, actually, you don't. We didn't really think about that. We were just thinking about the next game, winning the next game.
Now, in your 4 years, you enjoyed 4 straight 20-win seasons, 2 straight years as a first-team All-ODAC and All-South Region player, and captured the 1989 and 1991 ODAC championships. What do these accomplishments mean to you looking back 20 years later?
Well, it means the world to me. I mean, obviously I was fortunate enough to be recognized individually, but the team, winning the championships as a team and all those awards, that's what meant the most to me, is just like the fact that I couldn't have gotten anything without my teammates, and I think that when I look back, that means a lot to me, and just the memories that I have of playing with my teammates.
Now, you're an assistant women's basketball coach, as you mentioned earlier, with your husband, Brian, in addition to the head women's lacrosse coach at Ferrum College. You seem to be kind of a jack of all trades, as you also serve as assistant athletic trainer.
Right.
You could be your own staff on the road for lacrosse and basketball with all the games in your experience, couldn't you?
Yeah, and it's happened, yes.
Now, going back to your time at Roanoke College, what would be your most memorable moment or game playing for Roanoke College under Susan Dunnigan, and what? Well, I'll stop there. I'll let you answer that question first.
Well, there's probably a couple games that stand out. Our junior year winning the conference championship meant so much, just because nobody expected us to do anything that year, and then my senior year, the game against Luther, which we won, and that put us into the Final 8. It was a great atmosphere. We probably had beat a team that was probably a little bit better than us, that we were the underdog, and so it was nice to win that, and that was a game that put us into the Final 8.
Now, from all of those 20-win seasons, what do you really take, what lessons or experience do you take with you and possibly pass along to your players that you've taken with you in your coaching career?
Well, I think that Coach Dunnigan, probably I think there's more to coaching than just X's and O's, and I think that Coach Dunnigan builds a good relationship with her players, and I think that's probably evident from what Rebecca said and any alumni that will come on, that will talk about her, is that she has that relationship with her players, and I think that's probably the one thing as a coach that I try to work on, is developing a good relationship with my players, because I think that ultimately that's going to mean the most to them down the road. You won't remember the wins and losses as much as you'll remember those relationships.
Well, again, we always like to thank the alumni for coming on. We hope that you can certainly come back again and join us. And Nick will be back in just one moment to cover women's basketball. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Mac and Bombs for Tuesday Night Live. I'm joined by junior women's basketball guard Hannah Davidson. Now, Hannah, you're entering your junior year. Still haven't quite stepped out on the court yet. Going back through rehab because of an injury. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going?
Yes, I had back surgery in high school, and I struggle with it on a day-to-day basis. In our first scrimmage, I went down and haven't quite come back yet. I'm doing rehab, like I said, and taking it day by day. It's a slow recovery process, so I'm not trying to rush into it this early in the season.
Now, you were a local product from Pulaski County High School, where you played for Jason Grubb, named second-team All-District, team captain as a senior, even earned highest academic honors and speaker at high school graduation. Kind of someone a little soft-spoken.
Yes, I often hear about my soft voice, but I was not nervous going into my graduation speech, which was surprising to everybody. They joked about having to turn up the mic so everybody could hear me, but it went well, and I'm glad that I followed through with it.
Now, the past 2 years have been quite an experience as a freshman, part of a team that made it to the NCAA tournament last season, a three-pointer away from winning the first ODAC championship for Roanoke women's basketball in about 11 years. How have the players that have graduated helped you grow over the past 2 seasons? What lessons have you learned from them?
They've really helped me to come out of my comfort zone. I was very soft-spoken, and just watching them face adversities over the past 2 years has helped me to face adversities both in the classroom and on the floor, and they really brought in the team aspect that I had not had previously in high school, so they just helped me in many ways, more ways than they'll ever know.
Now, you and Rachel Delahunt are the only other juniors on the roster, and Nikki Moats is the only 3 upperclassmen on the roster. Now, you and Delahunt both playing in the backcourt together, doing all the freshman duties for the upperclassmen 2 years ago. What's the relationship like between you and your fellow junior?
Oh, me and Rachel are best friends. We live together, spend a lot of time with each other, and we were anxious to actually get to play together a lot. We didn't get to see the floor very much together last year, but I think she's doing a great job of stepping up and filling the leadership role, especially with me and Nikki out, and she's doing a great job, and we're excited to come back and join her.
Now, what goals do you have for yourself entering your junior season?
Personally, I would like to make myself more than a three-point threat. Everybody in the conference knows I'm a three-point shooter, so we've all been working weight room, gym, preseason, countless hours working, each of us picking out different aspects of our game to improve on for the season.
I know we appreciate you coming down and talk with us. Good luck for the rest of the season. Hope to see you back on the court real soon.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with the legendary women's basketball coach, Susan Dunnigan.
Hey Roanoke fans, come out to the Bass Center on Saturday, December 3rd for Roanoke College's Maroon Madness. The action begins at 1 p.m. as the men's basketball team faces off with ODAC rival Lynchburg College, followed by the women's basketball team squaring off against Emory and Henry at 3 o'clock. The afternoon includes giveaways and prizes like a 32-inch TV, a $1,000 gift card to the Roanoke College bookstore, an iPod, and much, much more. Come out and support Roanoke College's Maroon Madness.
Welcome back. I'm joined with women's basketball coach Susan Dunnigan. Now, Coach, your team has had quite a rough start to the season, but you said your competition has been tough. Ferrum, who you played last week, was picked second in the USA South Poll, and Mary Washington and CNU received votes in the top 25. Such a young team. What do you tell your kids about playing against such tough competition to start the year?
Well, I told them the other day, since I haven't cut my wrist down yet, I know they're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. Just the fact that, these kids, we've got freshmen starting. We've got freshmen coming out there and just nothing but freshmen on the floor. There has been, it's been very difficult to develop a leader for these kids. And honestly, it has been very difficult. But we just, as coaches, we just have to be patient, and our upperclassmen have to be patient. And for me, sometimes that's difficult. Can you imagine? But I think that, they're starting to listen to us. They're starting to believe us, and they're starting to realize that all we keep saying is we want to get better each game, get better each half, get better each practice. And it's happening, and we're trying to keep their confidence up, trying to keep them going by taking on that attitude, and then eventually, hopefully we'll be there.
Now, recently you've had two leaders and upperclassmen Anna Davidson as well as the Nikki Moats out with injuries. Only one upperclassman on the floor, that being Rachel Delahunt. How have you and your team been able to adjust to the loss of 2 starters?
It's, as I said, the whole process has been tough. But honestly, it's been fun in the respect that we've got some great kids, and all they do is work hard, and they do anything you ask, and they'll run into the wall if you ask them. But as far as I told them the other day too, I can think back a year that we had Erin Hansen, and and she was our main player, and all the kids looked toward her, and she went out because she'd had a lot of concussions. And what we tried to do and to make them buy into, which they did, is that with Erin out, it's going to make somebody else have to step up and learn to stand on their own, and let these little ones. And this is what's happening. And this is what I'm telling them. By the time we get Nikki back and we get Hannah back, that hopefully we'll have that foundation in there. And then this is just going to be an added thing, and we'll be able to eventually plug it in and start moving ahead.
Now, a big part of that foundation has been sophomore Paxton Gwynn. She had a double-double with 21 points and 10 rebounds against Ferrum. Also put up 14 against Mary Washington. What do you think we can expect from her as the season goes along?
Well, I'll tell you, we have expected a great deal out of her early. She's came in playing a guard. She's brought the ball down the floor. She's playing in the post now for us. She's undersized for the position she is, and you see that the number of rebounds she's been getting, and just in sheer heart, getting second and third shots at the basket, because it's hard for our kids to be able to even, look inside to find her. So it's been hard on her, but she's been a tremendous example. She keeps, as they all have, keeps working hard, keeps plugging away, and just knowing that there's there are brighter days ahead.
Now, junior Rachel Dillon has also been a pleasant surprise for you and your coaching staff. She leads the team in assists, second in rebounding, second in steals, and she's taken on the role of the point guard and been improving at that. Now, how's her leadership role been with the other upperclassmen out?
She's done a great job. She's basically quiet. And it's hard for her to step that role up. So all this is different for all of them. They're all having to do something they're not used to. We're taking them out of their comfort zone, but they're getting it done. And little Rachel, I tell you, if last year for her first 2 years, she's strictly been a backup player. And last year in the ODAC tournament, she came in and she played a good game. She did a great job in a subbing situation in the Civic Center, and we knew that there were going to be some good things ahead for her, and she's followed through with it. And this year, she wants to be out there on the floor, and that's a good sign.
Well, we look forward to brighter things as the season goes along. Always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming.
You're my favorite, Nick.
Thanks. I try. Richmond and I will be right back.
Roanoke College. Timeless and true. Smart and solid. Practical and professional. Making discoveries about yesterday. Creating visions for tomorrow. Lifted by a winning college spirit. Forging lifetime friendships with professors who prepare you for a place at the head of an operating table or another bright future. Roanoke College. Classic for tomorrow.
And we're back now. Let's look ahead at what's coming up. The men's basketball team will be off until after Thanksgiving as they return on Sunday, November 27th to face Goucher College in the Bass Center. That game will begin at 2 o'clock. And the women's basketball team will return to action on Wednesday, November 30th as they travel to Harrisonburg to face Eastern Mennonite. And that game will take place at 7 o'clock.
And then both teams will return home on Saturday, December 3rd for Roanoke College's Maroon Madness. The men will face off with ODAC rival Lynchburg College at 1, followed by women's basketball, taking on Emory and Henry at 3. Giveaways and prizes throughout the doubleheader all afternoon, including a 32-inch flat-screen TV, a $1,000 gift card to the Roanoke College bookstore, 2 iPods, gift cards to almost anywhere you can think of.
I'm pretty sure I'm not eligible for any of those things, so good luck to whoever wins them.
I'm not either, so come by and get your raffle ticket on December 3rd. Watch a great afternoon of basketball. Also, the men's basketball team falling to Bluefield State earlier tonight. They lost that one by 3 points.
And we have to give a quick shout-out to Cave Spring High School, who just won the volleyball state volleyball championship. coached by one Caitlin Long, who we had on the show last week. So a special requested shout-out at that point. So.
I also have to say hello to Jeffrey Kissel, part of our Maroon Madness commercial we've been running. Kissel, thanks so much for the help. Hope everything is well. For all of us here at Mac and Bob's, our sports information director, Brad Moore, technical director, Reed Hall, athletic director, Scott Allison. Special thanks to Bob Rotans, Alan Johnston, and David Mulford. For Richmond Bramblett, I'm Nick DeSanctis. Have a great Thanksgiving.